So it's day 2 under Ange, and for 24 hours, all I've been hearing from the Ops fans is, good luck to Murillo's hamstrings, good luck playing Ange Ball, good luck playing that high line for life. But I've investigated Ange Ball, and I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit excited. Welcome to the tactics on Ange Ball. Hi guys, hope you're doing well and welcome to day 2 of the new era. And coming up, I'm going to break down Ange Ball. There's been a lot of talk, there's been a lot of miscommunication for me on what Ange tries to achieve in his unique style of football. And I have the hard task of explaining it all to you. So I got loads of visual aids coming up. I'm going to explain the tactics, how he sets up, why he sets up, and could it actually work? So if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well if you are new. And check out today's sponsors, which is Football Prizes, where they're giving away this massive, yet again, Forest bundle set where you can win the official Forest shirt signed. You can also win the away kit side. You can win, yes, Jess, Hutchinson signed frame shirt as an Insta prize. You can also win cash prizes as well. They got £1,000 and so many more. I'm not going to bore you by listing them all. Go check it out by scanning the QR code or clicking on the link that's pinned in the comments. And guess what? It's only 39p a ticket, so grab as many as you want. Okay, let's jump into the video and let's talk about the infamous Ange Ball. As I said in the intro, there's so many misconceptions about Ange Ball. Look, I will tell you now, this is high risk football. But when it pays off and when it's done properly, it works. We saw Spurs in their opening 10 games under Ange playing it beautifully. But when it collapses, that's where the issues are caused. Now, Ange in general will set up in a kind of 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. So the Forest players should be quite familiar with the general layout. But the way it kind of translates onto the pitch is nothing like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. So what I want to do, I want to take over to some visual aids and we'll start exploring the mystery that is Ange Ball. All right, let's kick this off from the back because we're going to see a huge change, monumental change. You guys know I've always complained about when Cells get the ball, it's like Cells, he kicks it long, he kicks it long. We ain't going to be seeing Cells kick the ball long much because Ange likes to play out from the back. But more importantly for him is the setup and the design of the setup. He likes to have 2 centre backs. And then he likes to form triangles. Triangles are so important for Ange. Now, if we have a quick look at this layout here, this is the kind of tactic that Ange likes to do. He likes to have these 6 players, technically, if you include the goalkeeper, but the outfield players will be the 2 centre-backs at the back. So you got Romero there and Van de Ven. You'll have Basuma as the pivot, and then you'll have, yes, your fullbacks playing heavily inverted. So there is no one wide. In fact, the 8s are probably the ones that will create the width. We'll come onto that in a second. But what Ange is looking to do here is set up those triangles. So he will use Basuma as the pivot point now at Forest. That could be, I don't know, an Anderson or a Sangare, whatever. We'll do a separate one covering Forest. But this is his kind of ideal setup. This is what he would call the rigid part of his setup, but he also likes to have it as fluid, and I'll explain more in a second. All right, so let me show you this in action. Now, if you look at this setup, let's pretend that this is Cells on the ball. Under Nuno, Cells is punting this one long. There's no real open man that he can use. He'd punt it long towards Chris Wood. Cells is a good kicker. But under Ange will look to change this philosophy. Now, again, I want to just show you the setup and be wary of this setup because start to expect to see it a lot of Forest. Those are the same players. Those are the forms that are being created. Again, it's Basuma in the middle of that pivot. And when you look here, the pass is played to the Basuma, out to the fullback. Played now, the triangles form the players just off the pitch there. And now you've got the movement from Porro. Ball goes through, and that's how it's transitioned with Ange. He looks for those movements, but it's so high and so risky in terms of the ability to do it. The players have to be good enough to do it as well. Okay, so within that formation, we can see where the players are, where the fullbacks. What I wanted to start to show you is what he does with the midfield. And what you'll see is towards the bottom of the screen here, I think it's Maddison. And this is him as a left 8. What he does, he will then float into the wider positions. So the 8s come out to the positions. The idea behind this is to create that fluidity amongst the rigidity of the setup. So if you'll watch here, what you'll see is the movement, Porro up there. They're going to start to turn different directions here. And just watch where Casemiro ends up, because this was against Manchester United. He's out wide, pulled out of position, and that starts to create spaces that then can be manipulated from a central position. So in essence, the fullbacks are not playing wide, they play narrow. The 8s then pivot wide into the space. They can drop in and then they can become fluid with the fullbacks there to try and pull some central players out of the opposition team. Is that making sense? All right, so let's talk about some of the creativity that happens in the midfield. Maddison was a very key cog in this setup for Postecoglou. You could argue in a Forest setup, it may be the likes of Gibbs-White. Because what Maddison gets is a bit of a free role in and around that midfield, where he's looking, one, sometimes to drop into the pockets like you see there, and then be able to turn over the ball out wide and create the counter-attack, or secondly, to move around freely. Now, when he steps out of position, what you'll see is one of the other players filling that hole. Postecoglou says loads of times that he doesn't mind if players are out of position as long as someone comes in to fill that hole. And this is why Maddison was extremely important to Postecoglou's setup. Okay, so the key to all of this, Ange Ball, is the ability of the players to deal with the high press from an opposition. And you're going to need players who can do it. Now, Spurs, as I mentioned, would have used Basuma in the pivot in the early days under Ange Postecoglou. But it's not just him that's got to do it. You can see as he gets pressed there, he needs that ability to quickly turn. He received the ball. Kulusevski doing it there as well. Maddison doing it, and the likes of Van der Ven and Udogie could all do it as well. This is extremely important in the system, because if they can't be press resistant, the opposition win the ball high up the pitch and potentially a straight through on goal. And that's where the scary parts come in with this system. Now, what will tend to happen is that when the Postecoglou team are able to break through the press, be it through a turn from Maddison or Basuma or what have you, it's created that overload in the middle section of the pitch. And that allows a transition potential counter-attack, where then you're going to see the fullbacks overlapping wider in the second half, with the wingers holding out wide, and then the rest of the team moving up the pitch, creating the so-called high line for life. It's a very complicated system that, when is done effectively, does work, but is such high-risk football. So one thing is absolutely for sure, we are going to see some entertainment coming our way. Don't expect it against Arsenal. He has not had enough time to implement this. Let's see if he gets the time before the Swansea game and then the 2 Premier League games after that as well. So I hope this has been a useful insight into Ange Ball for you guys. Let me know your thoughts about it. Does it make you shudder with nerves? Do you think our players can handle that high press? And can they pass under pressure in tight areas and overcome that high press from oppositions? Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you later on for an Arsenal preview with some of my Arsenal YouTube mates, as well as Ange, as well as Ant and Crypto as well. Tune in about 9 o'clock tonight. Come on, you Reds.